Stephanie White to blame for Caitlin Clark not being on his Team USA poster that has the internet erupted right now. I mean, people mad, about ready to fight over this Team USA situation.
Now, the Team USA poster just dropped, and Caitlin Clark's name wasn't on it. Within seconds, the internet lost its mind. Fans were arguing, debating, and ready to go to war over a training camp roster, as if it were the final Olympic cut. But before you jump on the outrage train, there's a crucial detail buried in the fine print, and it completely changes how you should be looking at this story.
Real reason. Here's the reality of the situation. There's no way Caitlin Clark could win.
Now that you understand what this training camp roster really means, the question changes. Does Caitlin Clark's absence make you more confident, or less confident about her spot on the final Team USA roster? Be honest. Drop your take in the comments. But before we go any further, let's get one thing straight. What this training camp roster actually is. Because a lot of people are arguing about the wrong thing.
Here with you guys today. Where is CC22? The United States senior national team came out, training camp starting in April, gave us the roster, named all the players, and Caitlin Clark was not one of the players named. Fans are asking.
The USA women's national team held a training camp in Phoenix, Arizona, from April 1st through the 3rd. The roster featured stars like Aya Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier, Paige Buchers, and more. But one name was missing: Caitlin Clark. And she wasn't alone. Angel Reese wasn't on that list either. Aaliyah Boston? Injured. Still, a huge part of the internet instantly treated Clark's absence as proof that something had gone wrong. That narrative spread fast. But here's the truth. That reaction is completely off.
Came out about the roster for Phoenix, the training camp coming up, and it was no Caitlin Clark. All right, it was no Caitlin, it was no Angel Reese, it was none of them on here. All right, now, I had a few messages from everybody, and they were basically just saying, like, yo, what's going on, right? Why is Caitlin Clark not on this list? Now, honestly, I don't think there's anything to panic over. All right, usually, if I'm not mistaken, they switch up the lineups just in case somebody gets injured at the end of the season, can't necessarily make it, whatever.
At this stage of the USA basketball calendar, training camps aren't final roster announcements. They're evaluation sessions. The players in Phoenix are there to prove something, to show where they are right now, or to give the coaching staff a closer look before decisions are made. But if you're a player whose spot is already locked in, you don't need an April tryout. And that's the part people are missing. Caitlin Clark already did her part. She showed up at the previous camp in North Carolina, competed, and delivered at an elite level, then went on to earn World Cup qualifier MVP. That evaluation, it's already done. So her absence here isn't a snub. It's the opposite. It's a signal that her place isn't in question. Think about it. Aya Wilson is at this camp. Sabrina Ionescu is there too. Nobody is seriously arguing they won't make Team USA. Their presence isn't about earning a spot, it's about staying sharp, building chemistry, and working within the system. Now look at a name like Paige Buchers. She's entering her first pro season after an incredible college career, but she hasn't yet proven herself at the senior international level. This camp gives the coaching staff a chance to evaluate her against elite competition and see how her game translates. That's what this camp is really about. Evaluations, not confirmations. And Caitlin Clark? She doesn't need another evaluation. Not after the performance she just put on. You don't send someone with that resume back into a tryout setting. You let them focus on what's next. In Clark's case, that means preparing for an Indiana Fever season that suddenly comes with real expectations.
Really look at this as the end-all be-all. All right, this is, I know it looks a little strange because you have Mo Billings back, Cam back, Paige back, Ray back. You have some players that were at the other training camp, right? And who played in Puerto Rico. You have those players here, but you also have Asia, right? And you have Sabrina, who weren't necessarily in the last ones or the last training camp. So Yeah, I think it's fine, man. It's nothing to...
She was part of the previous coaching cycle, but instead of having a clearly locked-in role this time, she's at an evaluation camp as a court coach. That suggests her position in the national team hierarchy may not be as secure as expected. And if that role grows, if she's involved in qualifiers or World Cup prep, that's time and focus split between two demanding jobs. That's the real concern for Indiana. Because Stephanie White can't be in two places at once. Now, back to Caitlin Clark, because her story deserves to be finished properly. She was just named to the McDonald's All-America Anniversary Starting Five. That's not a projection, that's history. That's recognition alongside some of the greatest names in the game. At the same time, she's not at this camp. And those two facts together tell you everything you need to know. Her World Cup qualifier performance wasn't just good, it was dominant. She averaged around 20 points, over 8 assists, strong rebounding numbers, and handled constant defensive pressure. She didn't just participate, she controlled games. That's why she walked away as MVP. So no, there's no question about whether she belongs at this level. She already proved it. The players in Phoenix are there to compete for spots. Clark isn't competing, she's preparing. And that distinction matters, especially for Indiana. The WNBA season is right around the corner. Having Clark healthy, focused, and ready for a high expectation season is far more valuable than putting her through another evaluation camp she doesn't need. Aaliyah Boston adds another layer here. She's injured, which is why she's absent, but just like Clark, her place at the national level isn't in doubt. So when people look at that camp poster and panic, they're reading it backwards. They're treating presence as proof of value, and absence as a problem. In reality, it's the opposite. The players at camp are being evaluated. The players not there? Many of them have already passed. Now, does that mean Fever fans should relax completely? No. The Stephanie White situation is a valid concern. Free agency decisions are happening right now, the roster still isn't fully built, and expectations are rising fast. Those are real issues that could define the season. But Caitlin Clark missing an April evaluation camp? That's not one of them. If anything, it's confirmation of where she stands in the game right now. When you're already one of the best, you don't audition. And that's the part the internet keeps getting wrong. Two completely different stories are being mixed into one. Clark isn't at camp because she already made the team. Stephanie White is at camp when her team arguably needs her most. Those are not the same thing. So what do you think? Are Fever fans right to be frustrated with White, or is this being overblown?